Who was Churchill? How did he come to power? Great politicians are known by their achievements. It is their mindset, perspective, and resilience that often cause to their success. Churchill's mentality can be cultivated by you and others and can boost your talents. In this video, the political psychology of Winston Churchill is examined, and I explain his main psychological features to come to political power and being a successful politician. Winston Churchill was born on the 30th of November in 1874 and died in 1965, who became the Prime Minister of England during the Second World War. He was born in an opulent aristocratic family, and he was famous in England and is viewed as a successful wartime politician who played a preeminent role against fascism. In their school he was wild, and his teacher reported he spoke with himself, and his general conduct was awful, and had problems with his classmates. When he was a child, sent to boarding school. From his childhood, he had an independent and rebellious personality, which usually caused to his punishment at the boarding school. He was rebellious, and the hidden reason behind it related to his creativity. He was creative and inherently saw rules and principles as obstacles, which prevented him from thinking freely and flowing new ideas which come to his mind. Even he believed that religion can also be a preventive factor to think and act independently. His father was an accomplished politician, and he worshipped his father. His father thought that Churchill was only suitable for army. His father never acknowledged Churchill. Nonetheless, he always tried to compensate for this lack of acknowledgement from him by flourishing in the political arena. In other words, he captured people's attention instead of his father's attention. He never studied at university. Actually, he was self-educated and liked reading English literature and history. As a soldier in India, Churchill spent many hours reading. He asked his mother to send him different books on history, politics, and he said, "I had always liked history at a school. In history, I decided to begin with Gibbon. Someone had told me that my father had read Gibbon with delight, that he knew whole pages of it by heart, and that it had greatly affected his style of speech and writing. And I was immediately dominated both by the story and the style. All through the long, glistening middle hours of the Indian day, from when we quitted the stables, still the evening shadows proclaimed the hour of polo, I devoured Gibbon." Churchill was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1953. He didn't limit himself to the educational system because he was so smart and his talent went beyond the educational structure. As a result, he was self-educated and followed his own curiosity rather than learning step by step. Moreover, he had amazing talent in politics and incredible creativity in finding the best solution when England faced a political deadlock. One preeminent example of the matter was the confrontation with Germany during the Second World War. Additionally, he was an intransigent person who didn't give up his aims and his strategy because he believed in himself. When he advocated the democratic system, he believed that humans should have enough freedom and enough opportunity to flourish their abilities. And that was the exact strategy which he followed throughout his life. From his childhood, he was a gifted child who tried to violate the school rules and have his own path in learning rather than be limited by doing specific homework. According to historical documents, he wasn't well behaved with his classmates. But why? There's a hidden reason behind the matter, which rooted in his smartness and cleverness. Churchill, as a gifted child, saw the world differently compared to his classmates and wasn't compatible with them. Therefore, he always had problems with other children, and we should call the phenomenon as the cognitive gap. Nevertheless, ordinary teachers can't apprehend the matter and try to suppress these kinds of children. When Churchill wrote a letter to his mother and said about the boarding school which he was studying at, wrote, "I wept." So he had unpleasant experiences about his school. Besides, he was stubborn and determined, which stemmed from his genius. He saw some unknown perspectives of decisions which others couldn't analyze it. Therefore, he always insisted on his attitudes and decisions and asserted the rightness of his policies in various situations, although he faced critics in political world. Besides, he was a brave politician and didn't hesitate to confront the enemies of England. But braveness wasn't the whole matter, and he calculated any policy before executing it and evaluated ups and downs of any policy which he was going to pursue. Churchill's calculation of policy was based on two columns, including his genius and his knowledge, which he had achieved through reading books and expanding his cognitive horizon. Churchill's library had more 500 volumes involving brilliant historical books. When he was 26 years old, he was elected from Conservative Party and entered Parliament. After that, he joined Liberal Party. He said, "In politics, when you are in doubt what to do, do nothing. When you are in doubt what to say what you really think." He was a marvelous orator. In his speech, he expressed his emotions. His wartime writings and speeches were attractive to generations. During the Second World War, he knew the power of words to awake English people. He said, "Danger gathers upon our path. We cannot afford. We have no right to look back. We must look forward." About the speech, he always said, "We are the master of unsaid words, but slaves of those we let slip out." After the First World War, he came back to political arena. In 1923, failed again to re-elected in the House of Commons. He married an aristocratic woman and had 5 children. He had 1 son and 4 daughters. In politics, whenever he entered, controversy always provoked. He was optimist and said, "The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty." Churchill always emphasized mindset. He said, "One must never be discouraged by defeats in one's youth, but continue to learn throughout one's whole life." His mindset was based on that. He said, "Always aim high, while we may not always meet the goal. By aiming high, we can accomplish a fabulous situation." One of the cardinal attitudes of him was thinking eminent goals. By this way, he could direct his mindset to summit of success. And this feature stemmed from optimistic perspective which he had. This mental strategy worked, and he could have fabulous accomplishment in his life. Because when we think great ambition, actually we direct our brains to the goal and strive for it ambitiously and ignore the obstacles which are in our journeys. So brain concentrates on the summit. According to psychologists, positive thinking can energize us and keep us hopeful about our lives. Resulting from this vision, Churchill saw failure in his political life as a part of victory journey rather than a collapse. By this attitude, he could manage the Second World War even during periods when most English people were disappointed about victory. So the mindset of politicians can change the direction of history, because mindset is the basis of action. He said, "My tastes are simple. I easily satisfied with the best." He believed that attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. He never gave up. Although he failed several times in political competition, he tried again and again. By his political talent, he knew when England should start war and how continue it. In 1940, Hitler came closely to win the Second World War, and Churchill was the only politician who prevented Hitler's victory. Nonetheless, France was in danger of surrender, and in 1940, England was alone against Germany and Hitler. He said, "Success isn't final. Failure isn't fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And never, never, never give in." He had worthy genius and said we should never surrender. And his strategic psychological feature of him was that he saw his enemies from ascendancy, and it was a latent reason to defeat them cleverly. Therefore, Hitler couldn't frighten him, and Churchill could overcome the catastrophe and said that, "I only think victory." He said, "You have enemies? Good. That means you've stood up for something sometime in your life." And Mussolini admired him because he stand against communists. His social philosophy was based on the democracy. He said, "The general march of industrial democracy is not toward inadequate hours of work, but towards sufficient hours of leisure. That is the movement among the working people all over the country. They are not content that their lives should remain mere alternation between bed and the factory. They demand time to look about them, time to see their homes by daylight, to see their children, time to think and read and cultivate their gardens. Time is short to live." That is very strange, perhaps, but that is the request they have made and are making with increasing force and reason as years pass by. No one is be pitied for having to work hard, for nature has contrived a special reward for the man who works hard. It gives him an extra release which enables him to gather in a brief space from simple pleasures a satisfaction in a search of which the social idler wanders vainly through the 24 hours. But this reward, so precious in itself, is snatched away from the man who has won it if the hours of his labor be too severe to leave any time for him to enjoy what he has found. For more ideas on the psychology of politicians, make sure you subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon and like icon. Please write your comments and tell me your favorite politicians to make videos about them. Thank you for watching this video.